Hello everyone, I'm Vivi and welcome. Croc, a classic 3D platformer from the late 90s, is getting an HD treatment. How did this get revealed? Well, editor-in-chief at Games Industry wrote an article covering the history and making of Croc, Legend of the Gobos, one of his favorite games from the PlayStation era. After sharing this article on Twitter, a reply was shared by Jez Sun, founder of the company Argonaut Games from way back. I have news, but it's a little premature to announce it. A Croc HD has started early development. For those not aware, Jez Sun still owns the Croc IP. As for what team or publisher will be involved, we don't know any of that. All we do know is something HD surrounding Croc is in the works. Now, Sun mentioned the term HD. Does this mean HD Remaster or HD Remake? I personally wondered about this. Thing is, Remaster and Remake tend to get confused or interchanged even, but clearly these two terms are two completely different things. The latter, for example, involves completely rebuilding the game in terms of visuals and controls. If memory serves right, Jez Sun is referring to Remake here. Back in 2020, again on Twitter, he had stated the following: "One day, I'd like to remake it. I get inbound all the time from folks that want to do it. One day." Fast forward to 2023 and here we are. Croc HD appears to be in early development. To give all of you a little refresher, here's a bit of history on Croc. Croc was first born through Argonaut Games, a company founded in 1982 by Jez Sun himself. Two Croc games were actually made by the team, first one released back in 97 and the sequel in 1999. Shortly, these two games released on different platforms, mainly on the PlayStation and then Windows and Saturn. Croc Legend of the Gobos had fantastic reception, even garnered over 3 million sales back then. Argonaut back in the day had a great relationship with Nintendo, so much in fact, Star Fox on the Super Nintendo Entertainment System was born. This game was the start of 3D stylized games. Argonaut, having great experience with hardware and software, they designed the Super FX chip during that time, a chip which pretty much delivered 3D graphics and capabilities for Star Fox. As time went on, Argonaut wanted to develop another 3D game, this time a prototype for a Yoshi game. Unfortunately, Nintendo wasn't too fond of outside studios working on a Japanese character. Instead, Nintendo went on to make Super Mario 64, which, according to Jez Sun, was not too far off from their Yoshi prototype. Sadly, that's when their relationship with Nintendo came to a close. So instead of a Yoshi game, Argonaut brought us Croc 1 and 2. These two games were later reimagined for the Game Boy Color and were handled by completely different developer and publisher. Croc 3 was also planned at one point by Argonaut. They tried teaming up with Xbox to develop an online multiplayer game. Sadly, the team was going through a rough patch, especially financially. 2004 came around and sadly the company went defunct. As for anything else, mobile iterations of Croc happened between the years 2005 and 2006, and that's pretty much the last we had seen of Croc. So with Croc getting the HD treatment and believing this is a remake, our biggest question right now is about the controls. Croc, Legend of the Gobos, was known for having what we call tank controls. If you recall, playing Croc on PS1 utilized the D-pad mostly. I'm saying mostly because Croc did in fact have analog support, albeit awkward. So about the D-pad, pressing left or right didn't have the character walk in that direction. Instead, Croc would simply rotate in place. To move in whichever direction he was facing, the player would have to press up on the D-pad to move forward, and pressing down would make him move backwards. Yeah, the good old days of 3D platforming. So this Croc HD, which is in early development, we simply can't help but wonder how the controls will be utilized in this day and age, especially when we look at level design. If this is indeed a remake, at least going off Jez Sun's words from 2020, we could be expecting very major changes. It's also a matter of just figuring out the right balance? What will make a Croc game appealing to today's audience? That sort of thing. What do you think about all this? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments section below. Like always, a huge thanks to my supporters on Patreon, and thank you for watching. Until next time.